He threw me on the street the day after my daughter's funeral, claiming the house was his now. At the will reading, he mocked me, "Hope you enjoy being homeless, Harold, because I made sure you get nothing." Then the lawyer said, "There's one final section." When he announced my net worth, Bradley fainted. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Hit that like button if you enjoy stories about karma. Let me tell you how this all started, because sometimes the best revenge is just letting people show exactly who they really are. I'm Harold Pierce, 58 years old, and I thought I knew my son-in-law. Boy, was I wrong. The call came at 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. Jennifer's voice on the other end was strained, breathless. "Dad, something's wrong, my chest, I can't." The line went dead. By the time I reached the hospital, my 34-year-old daughter was gone. Massive heart attack, the doctor explained with that clinical detachment they teach in medical school. Nothing they could do. Bradley stood beside me in the sterile waiting room, his face a mask of shock. But I caught something else in his expression. Relief. No. Surely I was imagining things in my grief. What father wants to think his son-in-law might feel relieved about his daughter's death? What happens now? I whispered, still unable to process that Jennifer, my healthy, vibrant daughter, was simply gone. Bradley straightened his shoulders, and for a moment his composure slipped. "Now we deal with reality, Harold. Jennifer's gone, and I have decisions to make." The coldness in his voice sent a chill through me. We'd never been particularly close, Bradley and I, but Jennifer had always been the bridge between us. Now that bridge was gone, and I was beginning to understand just how deep the chasm really was. "Of course, son. We'll get through this together," I said, reaching for his shoulder. He pulled away. "We'll see about that." I should have recognized the warning in those words. Instead, I attributed his coldness to shock. People grieve differently, I told myself. Some become emotional, others turn inward. Bradley was clearly the latter. The funeral arrangements consumed the next 3 days. I offered to help pay for everything. Jennifer had been my only child after all, after my wife Sarah died 5 years ago, but Bradley insisted on handling it himself. "I'm her husband," he kept saying. "I know what she would have wanted." Fair enough. I focused on writing her eulogy, calling relatives, and trying to hold myself together. At 58, I'd buried my parents and my wife, but losing a child felt like a special kind of hell. The night before the funeral, as I sat in what had been Jennifer's childhood bedroom in the house she'd shared with Bradley, I found myself staring at the framed photos on the dresser. Jennifer graduating college, Jennifer and Bradley's wedding, Jennifer holding her nephew at Christmas last year. What I didn't see were any photos of Jennifer and me from recent years. Bradley had systematically removed them, I realized. When had that happened? A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. Bradley stood in the doorway, no longer bothering to hide the calculating look in his eyes. "We need to talk, Harold." The funeral was beautiful. I'll give Bradley that. The flower arrangements were elegant. The music was Jennifer's favorite hymns, and the reception afterward was perfectly orchestrated. What wasn't beautiful was watching my son-in-law play the grieving widower while making pointed comments about moving forward and new chapters. I stood in the receiving line accepting condolences from friends and family when I overheard Bradley talking to his business partner, Aaron, behind the flower arrangements. "The life insurance alone will cover the mortgage for 2 years," he was saying in a low voice, "and without the extra expenses." "Extra expenses? What extra expenses?" "What about Harold?" Aaron asked. "Where will he go?" Bradley's laugh was sharp and brittle. "That's not my problem anymore. He can figure it out like the rest of us adults." That hit me hard. I'd been living with them for 2 years, ever since I'd sold my own home to help with their down payment. Jennifer had insisted it would be temporary, just until I found something smaller and more manageable. Somehow temporary had stretched into permanent, and I'd grown comfortable in the routine of helping with the house, cooking dinner, being useful. Apparently, I'd been naive. Harold Bradley appeared at my elbow, his public face firmly in place. "Could you help me in the kitchen?" "There are some things we need to discuss." I followed him through the crowd of mourners, nodding at neighbors and accepting final hugs from my sister, who was flying back to Phoenix in the morning. In the kitchen, Bradley closed the door and turned to face me. "I'm going to be direct," he said, his voice calm and businesslike. "This house is in Jennifer's name, which means it's mine now. I need time and space to process my grief without complications. Complications? You living here. It's not working anymore, Harold. I need my privacy that stung. Bradley, I understand you're grieving, but surely we can. No. He held up a hand. I've made my decision. I'll give you until tomorrow evening to pack your things. That should be plenty of time. I stared at him, searching for any sign of the man who'd once called me Dad, who'd hugged me at Christmas dinners, who'd cried when Jennifer said yes to his proposal. That man was gone, replaced by someone cold and calculating. Where exactly do you expect me to go? Bradley shrugged. You're a grown man, Harold. You'll figure something out. The casual cruelty of it took my breath away. Jennifer would be horrified by this conversation. Jennifer's dead. The words came out flat, final, and the sooner you accept that, the better off we'll both be. I packed my entire life into 4 suitcases and 3 boxes. 8 years reduced to what would fit in the trunk of my car. As I folded my clothes and wrapped my few remaining photographs, I kept waiting for Bradley to come upstairs and apologize, to say he'd spoken in grief, and of course I could stay until I found somewhere else to go. He never came. Instead, at exactly 6 p.m. the next day, he appeared in my doorway with his arms crossed. Time's up, Harold. I zipped the last suitcase closed and looked around the room that had been my sanctuary for 2 years. The walls were bare now, stripped of the few personal touches I'd been allowed to add. It looked like a guest room again, which I supposed it always had been. I'll need a few more minutes to get everything to the car, I said. I'll help you. It wasn't an offer. It was a statement. Bradley wanted me gone, and he wanted to make sure it happened quickly. We made 3 trips in silence. As I loaded the last box into my car, I turned to say goodbye. Maybe to make one final appeal to whatever remained of his humanity. I know you're angry with me for some reason, I said quietly. I wish I knew what I'd done wrong so I could fix it. Bradley's expression didn't soften. You didn't do anything wrong, Harold. You just exist in my space, in my life, in my way. Jennifer felt sorry for you, but I don't. The honesty was brutal and somehow cleaner than the polite fiction we'd been maintaining. I see. I got into my car and rolled down the window. Will you at least tell me if there's going to be a formal reading of Jennifer's will? I assume she left something. Why would she leave you anything? Bradley's voice was genuinely puzzled. You're not her husband, and it's not like you ever contributed financially to our household. The irony was so sharp, it actually made me smile. The $40,000 I'd given them for the down payment might disagree with that assessment, but clearly Bradley had either conveniently forgotten or genuinely convinced himself it had been a gift. Of course, I said. Silly of me to assume. I drove away without looking back, heading toward the Hampton Inn on Route 9. It was the closest hotel I could afford while I figured out what came next. In the rearview mirror, I watched Bradley stand in the driveway until my car disappeared around the corner. At the hotel, I checked in for a week and carried my suitcases to a generic room that smelled like industrial cleaning products and broken dreams. I sat on the polyester bedspread and stared at my reflection in the mirror above the dresser. Who was this man looking back at me? A widower, now childless, homeless, and apparently worthless in the eyes of the only family he had left. But as I sat there in that sterile room, I felt something shift inside me. Not despair, though that was there too. Something sharper. Something that felt almost like anticipation. Bradley thought he'd won. He thought he'd successfully discarded the inconvenient father-in-law and claimed his prize. What he didn't know was that Jennifer had been a much better daughter than he'd ever given her credit for. 2 weeks into my hotel stay, just as I was starting to seriously worry about my dwindling savings, the call came from Jennifer's lawyer. Mr. Pierce, this is Charles Davidson from Davidson and Associates. I handled your daughter's legal affairs. Yes, Mr. Davidson. I remember meeting you at Jennifer and Bradley's house closing. I'm calling to inform you that the probate process is complete and there will be a formal reading of Jennifer's will next Tuesday at 2 p.m. in my office. Your presence is required. My presence was required. I sat up straighter, ignoring the way the cheap mattress springs protested. I'm sorry, but I think there might be some confusion. Bradley seemed to think. Mr. Pierce, Davidson interrupted gently. I can only tell you what Jennifer's will specifies, and it specifically names you as a beneficiary. I'll see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. After he hung up, I stared at my phone for a long moment. Jennifer had left me something after all. Probably some small keepsake, maybe her grandmother's jewelry or the photo albums from her childhood. Bradley wouldn't be happy about it, but he'd have to live with whatever Jennifer had decided. I spent the weekend apartment hunting online, looking at senior living communities and modest one-bedroom rentals within my budget. My savings account could cover another week at the hotel, plus first month's rent and a security deposit, but I'd need to be careful. Social Security and the small pension from my manufacturing supervisor job would have to stretch further than I'd originally planned. At 1:45 p.m. the following Tuesday, I sat in the parking lot of Davidson & Associates, watching Bradley emerge from a silver BMW wearing a black suit that probably cost more than my monthly budget. He'd brought someone with him, Aaron, his business partner, who kept checking his phone. When I walked into the reception area, Bradley's face darkened. "What is he doing here?" he demanded of the receptionist. "Mr. Pierce is here for the will reading," the young woman replied professionally. "Which Mr. Pierce?" Bradley's voice rose slightly. "Both of you, apparently." Aaron leaned over to whisper something in Bradley's ear. He nodded curtly and took a seat across the waiting room from me, making it clear that whatever temporary civility might have existed between us was officially over. Mr. Davidson appeared promptly at 2 p.m. and ushered us into his office. He was a kind-faced man in his 60s with silver hair and gentle eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Gentlemen," he began, settling behind his mahogany desk, "I know this is a difficult time, but Jennifer was very specific about her wishes. I'll read the will in its entirety, and then we can discuss any questions." Bradley sat forward eagerly, his hands clasped in his lap. Aaron had pulled out a legal pad and was preparing to take notes. I simply folded my hands and waited. The first part of the will was exactly what I'd expected. Bradley inherited the house, the cars, Jennifer's retirement accounts, and her life insurance policy. He nodded approvingly at each item, occasionally glancing at me with something that looked like satisfaction. Then Mr. Davidson's voice changed slightly, and I knew we were approaching something important. "There is, however, one final provision that Jennifer added just 3 months ago." The atmosphere in the room shifted. Bradley stopped nodding and leaned forward, his eyes sharp with sudden attention. Aaron put down his pen, and I found myself holding my breath. Mr. Davidson cleared his throat and continued reading. "To my father, Harold Pierce, who provided the down payment for our home and has never asked for repayment, I leave the contents of Safety Deposit Box 537 at First National Bank, along with all associated documentation and account information contained therein." "What safety deposit box?" Bradley's voice was sharp. "Jennifer never mentioned a safety deposit box." Mr. Davidson looked up from the document. "Apparently, it was something she maintained privately. She was quite specific that the contents should go to her father." I was as surprised as Bradley, but for different reasons. Jennifer had never mentioned a safety deposit box to me either. What could she possibly have put there that was meant for me? "What's in it?" Aaron asked, his lawyer instincts kicking in. "I have no idea," Mr. Davidson replied honestly. "Jennifer simply provided the bank information and instructions that Mr. Pierce should have full access upon her death." Bradley's face was flushed with anger. "This is ridiculous. If there's anything of value in that box, it should be part of the estate. We need to contest this." "You're certainly free to try, Mr. Davidson said mildly. "But the provision is very clear, and Jennifer was completely competent when she added it to her will. I witnessed the document myself." "When exactly did she add this provision?" I asked quietly. Mr. Davidson consulted his notes. 3 months ago, February 15th. She came in specifically to make this addition to her will, February 15th. I remembered that date clearly because it was the day after Valentine's Day and Jennifer had seemed unusually quiet during our family dinner. Bradley had been complaining about something, the neighbor's dog, I think, and Jennifer had barely spoken throughout the meal. "This is a waste of time," Bradley snapped, standing abruptly. "Aaron, let's go. We'll file a challenge tomorrow, actually, Mr. Davidson said, pulling out another document. "Before you leave, I need to inform you both that Jennifer left specific instructions for her father regarding the contents of the safety deposit box. Mr. Pierce, she wanted you to access it within the next few days. He handed me a sealed envelope. These are the bank documents and her personal key." The bank will need to verify the death certificate and process the paperwork before you can access the box. Usually takes about 3 business days. Bradley's eyes fixed on the envelope in my hands like a hawk watching a mouse. I'm coming with you to the bank. I'm afraid that's not possible, Mr. Davidson interjected. The safety deposit box access is restricted to Mr. Harold Pierce only bank policy. This is insane, Bradley sputtered. How do we even know there's anything valuable in there? It could be empty or just sentimental junk. I stood up, clutching the envelope. I suppose we'll find out next week. As we filed out of the office, I could feel Bradley's eyes boring into my back. In the parking lot, he cornered me beside my car. Harold, let's be reasonable about this. Whatever's in that box, we should share it. Jennifer would have wanted her husband to benefit from anything she left behind. For the first time since Jennifer's death, I almost smiled. You made it very clear that you don't believe Jennifer would have left me anything. Now suddenly you're concerned about sharing. I'm just saying, you're saying whatever you think will get you access to that safety deposit box. I unlocked my car door. Jennifer was very specific. The contents are mine. Her mask slipped completely then, revealing the cold calculation beneath. Don't forget, Harold, you're homeless. You need my goodwill more than I need yours. I paused with my hand on the car door. Actually, Bradley, I don't think I need anything from you at all. 3 business days later, after providing the death certificate and completing the bank's paperwork, I finally stood before Safety Deposit Box 537 at First National Bank. The bank manager, Patricia Wells, had been expecting me. She'd obviously been briefed about the situation because she offered her condolences and escorted me personally to the vault area. Box 537 is one of our larger units, she explained as we walked through the security doors. Your daughter rented it about 5 years ago and visited quite regularly. 5 years. Jennifer had been planning something for 5 years. Patricia Wells used her master key while I inserted Jennifer's key, and the box slid out smoothly. It was indeed large, about the size of a briefcase, and surprisingly heavy. Take all the time you need, she said, showing me to a private viewing room. I'll be at my desk when you're finished. Alone in the small, windowless room, I lifted the lid of the safety deposit box. The first thing I saw was a letter addressed to me in Jennifer's familiar handwriting. My hands trembled as I opened it. Dad, it began. If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and Bradley has probably shown you exactly who he really is. I'm sorry for that, but I'm not surprised. I've known for years what kind of person I married, and I've been preparing for this possibility. My heart raced as I continued reading. You gave us $40,000 for our house down payment. I know you thought of it as a loan, even though you never asked for repayment. I've been investing that money for the past 5 years. Adding to it whenever possible, the money in the accompanying accounts isn't just repayment. It's what careful investing has grown into. I set the letter down and looked at the documents underneath. Bank statements, investment portfolios, account numbers. My eyes scanned the balance sheets, trying to make sense of the numbers. 105,000 in various investment accounts. All in my name, all accessible with proper documentation. I grabbed Jennifer's letter again, hardly believing what I was reading. I also discovered that Bradley has been telling people you contribute nothing to our household. What he doesn't mention is that our mortgage has been automatically paid from my salary account for the entire time you've lived with us. Any money you've given us went straight into investments for your future. The letter continued. I've been documenting everything, Dad. Every email, every text, every casual comment he's made about you. It's all in the folder labeled documentation. I thought you should know what kind of person has been living in our house. I reached for the folder she'd mentioned. Inside were printed emails, text message screenshots, even photographs of credit card statements. Evidence of years of manipulation and deceit. The final paragraph of Jennifer's letter made my throat tight. You deserve so much better than the way he's treated you. Take this money and build yourself a life where no one can make you feel unwanted ever again. And Dad, don't tell Bradley about any of this until you're safely away from him. Trust me on this one. All my love, Jennifer. I sat in that little room for nearly an hour, reading through everything Jennifer had left for me. By the time I emerged, I had a clear picture of exactly how my son-in-law had been manipulating both of us for years. Patricia Wells helped me transfer all the documents to a large envelope and explained the process for accessing the investment accounts. As I walked to my car, my phone rang. Harold, Bradley's voice was falsely sweet. I was wondering if you'd like to come by for lunch today. We could discuss what you found in the safety deposit box. I smiled at my reflection in the car window. That's very generous, Bradley. I'll be there at noon. It was time for Bradley to learn that sometimes the people you underestimate are the ones who surprise you most. I arrived at Bradley's house at exactly noon, carrying a small folder and wearing my best poker face. He answered the door in an expensive polo shirt and khakis, all smiles and false warmth. Harold, I'm so glad you came. I've ordered lunch from that Italian place you like. Funny how he remembered my preferences now that he wanted something from me. The dining room table was set with Jennifer's good china and fresh flowers. Bradley had clearly put effort into this performance. He poured iced tea and chatted about the weather while I sat quietly, watching him work up to what he really wanted to discuss. So, he finally said, settling into his chair with practiced grace, I've been thinking about yesterday, about the safety deposit box, have you? I have. Bradley's eyes lit up, clearly thinking he'd found an opening. I know we've had our differences, but Jennifer would want us to support each other through this difficult time. Family should stick together. Family. Rich coming from the man who'd thrown me out the day after his wife's funeral. I couldn't agree more, I said evenly. I'm so relieved to hear you say that. So about what Jennifer left you, I was thinking we could pool our resources, combine whatever was in that box with Jennifer's life insurance. Maybe invest it together. I have some wonderful financial advisors. I bet he did. The same ones who'd been helping him make questionable spending decisions. That's very thoughtful, Bradley. Tell me what makes you think there was anything valuable in the safety deposit box. He paused, clearly not expecting the question. Well, Jennifer was always so private about certain financial matters. She must have had a reason for keeping something separate. I set down my fork and looked directly at him. Actually, Bradley, I think Jennifer told you exactly as much as she thought you needed to know. Something flickered in his eyes. Uncertainty, maybe a hint of fear. What did you find in the box, Harold? Instead of answering, I reached for the folder I'd brought. I brought you something, I said, pulling out Jennifer's investment statements, a little documentation. He looked at the papers eagerly, his face gradually changing as he processed what he was seeing. These are investment accounts, he said slowly. Yes, all grown from the $40,000 I gave you for the house down payment. Jennifer was quite the careful investor. Bradley stared at the balance sheets. $105,000. That's impossible. Your wife was very methodical and very protective of her father. The color drained from Bradley's face. This money should be part of the estate. It should go to me as her husband. I leaned back in my chair. Based on what legal principle? The money was invested from my original loan, in accounts with my name on them, per Jennifer's specific instructions in her will. But it's not enough for the life I planned. Then maybe you planned the wrong life. I pulled out one more document from Jennifer's folder. Speaking of finances, Jennifer also documented your spending habits, Bradley, including the $15,000 you charged to credit cards in the month before she died. His face went ashen. Spa treatments, designer clothes, a weekend in Vegas with Aaron, luxury purchases made on the same days you told Jennifer you were worried about money for groceries. I wasn't. You weren't what? Planning to live off her life insurance while throwing out the inconvenient father-in-law who might interfere with your lifestyle. Bradley collapsed back into his chair, the fight going out of him. You don't understand the pressure I was under. What pressure? Everyone expected me to be successful, to provide a certain lifestyle. Do you have any idea how exhausting it is to maintain appearances? I looked at him sitting there in his expensive clothes, in his beautiful house surrounded by luxury, complaining about the burden of appearances. No, Bradley, I don't. Because I was too busy actually taking care of your wife while you were busy spending her money. He was crying now, ugly tears that destroyed his perfect facade. I can't lose everything. I can't go back to being nobody. You're not nobody, Bradley. You're Jennifer's widower. You inherited a $300,000 house, a $200,000 life insurance policy, and her retirement accounts. You're financially set for life if you manage it properly. But it's not enough. I stood up and headed for the door. This time he didn't try to stop me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's justice served exactly when it's needed most. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it comes with a hefty bank balance and the knowledge that the child you raised turned out to be exactly the person you hoped they'd become. 6 months later, I'm settled in a nice condo near the lake. Jennifer's gift gave me the independence I never thought I'd have again. I've got a small workshop in the garage where I repair antique clocks. Something I always wanted to do but never had time for when I was working at the plant. Bradley? Last I heard, he's selling cars at a dealership downtown. Turns out luxury spending habits don't work so well on commission pay, but that's not my problem anymore. Jennifer had taken care of me after all, just like she'd promised she always would. Even from beyond the grave, my daughter had kept her word. And that, more than any amount of money, was the greatest gift she could have given me. Listen, if you're going through something similar with family members who don't appreciate what you've done for them, document everything. Keep records. Don't assume people will do the right thing just because they're family. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who will hurt you the most. But also remember that real love, the kind between a parent and child, that survives everything, even death. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters.